Welcome, everybody. Time for another bit of recording from Tottenham on Tour. Got a few things to speak about. One big thing, and this is why I've got my man Amir with me. Amir, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, very well, Daigle. How are you? How's everything going in London?
Everything's good. Like I've been saying to you, I'm very homesick at the moment and missing my
Yeah,
wife more
I
than
feel
I
you.
can even begin to describe. But hey
I
ho,
feel
we've
you.
always got Tottenham to to talk about and take away that. So you ready to get into this?
Yeah, of course. Let's do it.
Tottenham on Tour. Alrighty. So the first thing we're going to discuss is a Hugo Loris rumour that broke yesterday. Now, I'm going to bring the tweet up, but I've also got it on my phone because I've just realised I haven't got my glasses, so I can't read what I'm going to put up. So here's the tweet that broke yesterday, and it's from Daily Hotspur that said, just in, Hugo Loris has received an offer from Saudi Arabia to treble his current 100 grand per week wages. He will speak to Daniel Levy about his Tottenham Hotspur future and is waiting to see who the club appoint as manager before making a decision. So, on hearing that, Amir, what's your actually we'll go first of all, let's talk about Hugo and what he's done for us and what you thought about his time for the club before we talk about that move. So what's Hugo Loris meant to you, Amir?
So, firstly, we all know that he's had a bit of a dodgy season this season with quite a few clangers in there, and his confidence has been a bit shot. But when you're looking at the overall time that he spent with Spurs, he's saved us a million times over. In terms of his cat-like abilities, his shot-stopping abilities, second to none. Absolutely world-class keeper. When it comes to his some other aspects of his game, he's lacking a little bit. But in terms of a servant for a club, he's done fantastically for us. And wherever he goes in his future, whether it's Saudi, whether it's back to France, whether whatever he does, I wish him only the best of luck in the future. He's always conducted himself very well, apart from the old drinking and driving incident that he had, where he should have got a taxi, but we'll forgive him for that indiscretion. Yeah, so just I'd like him to leave, in a dignified manner. I wouldn't want to see him stay on an extra year and more howlers and mistakes. So if it's time to say goodbye to Hugo in the summer, give him a big round of applause and send him on his way and thank him for his service.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go a little bit deeper in this. I mean, when we signed him, you got to remember Brad Friedel was in goal, and Brad Friedel had that record, and he made his debut in a 5-2 defeat to Arsenal, of all places, at Highbury, or the Emirates, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the thing. What we've got to remember is when we signed Hugo Loris, the goalkeeping requirement of that time was to be a sweeper keeper.
Exactly.
And without a doubt, he was a colossus at it. He was incredible and has been incredible. I often joke about that. I mean, you talk about the saves he made. I can remember saves like Crystal Palace where he tipped it onto the post, and many others where he defies logic. And I said, do you know what? And I joked about this, and I said his distribution started becoming shocking once we got Pochettino, because he got so bored because we had the greatest defense, and he went from making a world-class save every single game and being so busy to hardly having anything to do, because all he had Jan Vertonghen and Toby in front of him. He had obviously Rose and Walker or Trippier and Davies.
Yeah.
And I joked about it, saying he got bored, so his kicking got terrible. I mean, listen, he's been a tremendous servant for the club. He's been a tremendous servant for France. And he's had some golden seasons and some golden periods where he's been absolutely... And you've got to remember as well, he stuck with us when Man U were after him. Other goalkeepers were with him. He came out and said, whilst Poch is at the club, I don't leave. He has stuck to every single thing he has said. But over the last few seasons, the reliance on playing from the back, which we know he can't do. We saw it in the World Cup in France when he won the World Cup in Russia with France, and he made that howler. But thankfully, France were far enough ahead it didn't matter. He also did it against Southampton for us, where he tried to do a Johan Cruyff turn.
Yep.
And it still happened. And people will know when they watch football with me and they watch Tottenham, every time the ball goes back, especially at the Scotland Yard, big up to everyone back home in the Scotland Yard, I'd have heart attacks. People will know you go to a match with me, he gets on the ball, I go crazy. But do you know what? Some of his howlers as well that he's had has been because of the lack of protection he's had in defence. You look at it, he went to the World Cup with France and was stellar, even against us. Amir, we watched that England-France game, didn't we, together at We Are Tottenham TV?
Don't remind me, Daigle. Don't remind me about that one.
But he was stellar at it. But why was he stellar? Because France have a world-class defence, whereas we don't. He has been on the decline. And do you know what? Since he came back from the World Cup, it's been shocking. His last game may have been Newcastle. I seriously have been saying for ages, we've got to stop being on sentiment. We've got to stop being sentimental and go, oh, he's given us 10 years and he's been brilliant. I mean, what do you think? If these rumours are true, if they are true, what would you do if you were Hugo Loris? Forget where it is. Forget what it is. Someone's come along. You get into the pinnacle, or sorry, not the pinnacle, the final stages of your career. Someone offers you a contract to treble your wages for a brief amount of time. Obviously, it doesn't look like trophies or any kind of consistency is coming at Tottenham Hotspur. Well, what would you do, Amir?
Do you know, it kind of looks like a no-brainer, really, if you're asking me. Someone's offering to triple your wages. You know, it's your golden years, like you said. He's got a few years left. He might be looking for a new challenge. You know, I think it could be the right move for everyone, but it does all come down to what Hugo wants at the end of the day. My issue is that the goalkeeping position, you know, we've always kind of brought in these second string keepers, reserve keepers that aren't really up to par with Hugo. So they've never really challenged him for his spot. Having said that, Forster's done all right since he's come in, but that's for a very short time. So what I'd like to see is maybe, you know, having a look at some young keepers that, you know, are going to be the long-term Hugo replacement, the guy that will be with us for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years and give us the kind of service that Hugo gave us. So, yeah, when it comes down to that kind of offer, if it's true, you know, maybe he takes it. If he gets an offer from France that maybe instead of triple, it's, you know, double, maybe he goes back to France, to his homeland and to, you know, the place that he wants to be over there. I really think it comes down to Hugo, because when it comes down to the talent, we all know that he's an unbelievable shot stopper. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it. Also, with these rumours, I wouldn't discount or state that there won't be an offer for the MLS that will come in. If there are rumours now, when we're talking about Hugo and what we should do, I would always say my favourite goalkeeper as a Spurs fan growing up may not have been the best goalkeeper, but I loved Paul Robinson. Loved Paul Robinson with all my heart. For me, my favourite goalkeeper. But Hugo's definitely the best. I caught the tail end of Ray Clements, who is obviously rest in peace, a superstar and a wonderful goalkeeper. But there's no doubt for many Spurs fans, Hugo Loris is the greatest goalkeeper they've seen in their lifetime. Not heard about like the Jennings and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's come for a time in his career where this is where you reward a lot. Like Kasper Schmeichel, who Leicester let leave because of his tremendous service. But I use Kasper Schmeichel because, as you said, mate, this is a terrible time for this to come. Because if you look at it, we haven't got a sporting director or director of football. No idea who our manager is. And our standing goalkeeper is a 35-year-old Fraser Forster, who, don't get me wrong, I've been calling to be number one for a while because of Hugo. But everyone's going to know we're going to need a goalkeeper. Everyone's going to know Spurs are looking for the next goalkeeper to keep them going. And as much as I've said Dean Henderson, I think I can see Spurs. I know people are talking about Raya, but I think the place to go, and which would suit Daniel Levy, would go down to a relegated Southampton, or practically relegated Southampton, and get, I can never say his name, but Bianzu or
Bazunu. Yeah, fantastic. The young Irish keeper.
Exactly. I mean, Southampton will be getting relegated. Obviously, the money will be. I think because, like you said, for me, I mean, I don't have the same view. The goalkeeping position is the most vital one to get right. You have to get it right. We've seen like with Arsenal and Man U and Chelsea to some respect. They've had to get rid of Schmeichel, Van der Sar, Cech, and Seaman, and even Lehmann with Arsenal. How important it is to find that right one. And this, where we're talking about Kane and we need defenders and whatever, this could be the worst time for this to happen. But I think if I was Hugo and I've got this chance after his wonderful service, you're coming to the end of your career. Don't get me wrong, he'll probably go into coaching or TV or whatever he wants to do within football. But if someone says at the end of your career, come and earn 300 grand a week, I mean, for me, I think this is no brainer. But I just think the timing of this again for Tottenham Hotspur is just another clusterfuck for Tottenham Hotspur. But talking of clusterfucks, and I mean, like you said, I mean, if this happens, everyone at Tottenham on tour wish Hugo the greatest success. Even me that have slated him a lot this season, I love him dearly, but I don't stand on ceremony and think just because you're giving us this wonderful service, we need a better goalkeeper. But thank you for everything you've done and how close you've almost taken us to glory. But one that's broken today now, my friend Wayne Holland sent it to me, and I'm going to bring it up. Now, this started off as a rumour and is now spreading like absolute wildfire. And I'm going to read this out. It's about Dejan Kulusevski. And this was from the AJC, which is quite a big Juventus Twitter account. And it says, Dejan, #Kulusevski, will return to Juventus this summer. Spurs have made it known they will not pick up the £35 million option to make him an official Tottenham Hotspur player. Now, there is a huge rant coming in from me from this. But Amir, I'm going to send it over to you first. What's your thoughts on this rumour? And like I said, it started off as a rumour. It is now spreading like absolute wildfire.
Doesn't surprise me one bit, Daigle. Doesn't surprise me at all. You know, when have we shown the willingness in the transfers to pay the amount of money for the player that we need or want? Doesn't surprise me. Not shocking at all. And honestly, if we miss out on him, I guarantee you, Kulu will go back to Juventus and do absolutely amazingly over there. Because he's a quality player and he's got a very bright future ahead of him. Yes, he's had a bit of a slowdown to the storm that he came in January and, you know, did fantastic for that run in last year. But he had injuries. You know, it's part and parcel of the game. So, you know, doesn't surprise me. Real shame.
So yeah, so here comes the rant. I mean, this just goes to show what state of a club we're in. First of all, if Daniel Levy has decided Spurs don't want to pay this 35, what happens if Nagelsmann, Arne Slot, or whatever manager, Alonso, who apparently is going to commit to another year from Bayern, coming out of Bayern, Bayer Leverkusen? Who's to say that he doesn't want Kulusevski as a main part of his team? Who's to say, unless Daniel Levy knows who the manager is, but let's face it, we know what's going on there at the moment. It's an absolute shit show and everyone is getting conflicting information. I saw We Are Tottenham TV's update when I was coming home. Some reports say Nagelsmann has not had a word spoken to us. There's been no talk whatsoever. He's waiting to see what happens until we get a sporting director. And then another publication saying there are talks ongoing, but it won't be decided. So who knows? So first of all, who are you, Daniel Levy, to say, yeah, we're not going to take this offer up? This could have a major implication on who the manager is, how the manager wants to play. And secondly, I'm going to mention a name here, Kieran Trippier.
Yeah.
Came back from the World Cup. Absolutely renowned for his stellar performances. And had the most shocking season for us. Why? Because he played with an injury and constantly needed injections to play through the pain all season because there wasn't good enough quality to replace him. Well, here we are once again in the same situation where Kulusevski has clearly been struggling with a knock, clearly been struggling for form, and no one there to replace him, apart from a Lucas Moura or a Dan Juma who nobody plays because the manager didn't want him.
Daigle, it's player mismanagement at its, absolute pomp. It's ridiculous. And, you mentioned Trippier. He went off to Atletico Madrid and won the league. So don't be surprised if Kulu goes back to Juve and they end up winning the league next season over there in the Serie A. It's beggars belief. It really is beggars belief. We've been through this many a time with Daniel Levy and we've seen his antics during the windows. It's just another case to add to the filing cabinet of woes, really.
With filing cabinet, for anyone that has watched Bruce Almighty with Jim Carrey, they'll know exactly what filing cabinet I'm talking about with that. That's the kind of filing cabinet. But this just goes to show again, if it's true, we have to state if it's true. But there's no smoke without fire. And as I've said on many a time, this ain't my first rodeo when it comes to Daniel Levy pulling this kind of shit. Listen, I had a fan say to me, I can't remember who, it was actually a friend of mine as well, said in January or February, do you know what? I think Hulu's been found out because he wants to cut in on his left. People, and do you know what? To some point, it could be. No one knew how to handle him at all last season. No one could get near him. He was exceptional. But this season, I mean, Kulusevski's been here a season and a half. He's had Conte, he's had Stellini, he's had Mason in this time, playing the same brand of football but in different ways. And how can we be talking about not picking? Surely your managers that you need to be talking to, you need to make aware, by the way, what would you do with Kulusevski? To all candidates, what would you do regarding Kulusevski? And if a majority of them want him, and he goes, I'm sure this is going to show to future managers, by the way, even if you want this player, I'm not prepared to pay this. And off you go. And at 35 mil, which it is alleged to be, even if you signed him at 22, 23 years old, you are going to get your money back.
100%.
I mean, how will you feel if this is confirmed, Amir?
I'm going to be really upset. I'm going to be really upset because it just shows our lack of intent, our lack of, future planning and going for the glory. It's just got Levy written all over it, really. And, it on one side of things, when we lose players like that and, Trips goes off to Atletico and wins and this player goes off here and then does well, Marcus Edwards goes off to Portugal and doing bits over there in Lisbon. You just think to yourself, hold on a minute. Why is it that we keep mismanaging these players? What is going on at our club? What is going on underneath it all that we just stink out the place? And, it's almost like a curse, you come to Tottenham, you don't win anything, you bugger off to any other country and you come back with silverware. I mean, even bloody Ndombele has gone off and got himself a Serie A title with Napoli. I mean,
another way to look at this really as well is we need to build a squad of serious depth and strength. Yet you may be letting a first team, a vital cog, go back because you don't want to pay 35 mil, yet you spent all January haggling over Porro just to pay what you could have paid in the first place.
Yep.
I mean, I just don't get it. And people were talking, going, "Oh, Harry Kane looks like he's wanting to stay," and he's saying, "I'm sure Daniel will do the right thing." Well, we don't know who the manager is. We don't know who the director of football is. And Kulusevski could be going, mate. And Kulusevski could be going. So this could be, and again, you add that to Hugo. That's 2 huge first teamers that have gone with no ready-made replacement.
Nothing
to go in. So once again, we need to get defenders, a creative midfielder, potentially a goalkeeper, now a right winger. And this it goes on and on, Amir. But do you know what? We're going to end with some good news and some positive news. Now, I don't know if people will notice. Now, big up to Amir. This is why I wanted Amir with me today. One of the things that we've been neglecting at Tottenham on Tour is the use of the wonderful community page, which is something we can use to engage with you guys, have some fun with. And thankfully, after discussions, Amir has taken up the reins on the community page. And as you've seen, he's been doing some incredible polls. And we've got a lot planned for the community page, haven't we, Amir?
Definitely. You know, we want to gauge what you guys are feeling out there and how you're feeling about the club. And you know, try and get as much information as we can. And honestly, the feedback's been absolutely fantastic. And you know, just some of the comments that people are putting in there, and it really is just a pleasure to run and be in contact with Spurs fans and seeing how people are feeling. And yeah, plenty more to come over the next few months. And yeah, we've got big plans, Daigle, big plans. So
yeah,
you know.
I mean, you're doing a great job, and there is going to be loads of stuff, especially over the summer. Might just be polls. We'll have some questions. We'll have some engagement, asking you what you'd like to see on future shows.
Definitely.
So Amir is going to be running the community page. It's something we have neglected, and thankfully, Amir, a big thank you to you for taking up the reins on it and loving what you are doing, brother. Loving
it's my
what
pleasure.
you are doing.
My pleasure.
So, Amir, tell everyone as well about your other channel that you work, and I've been seeing some of the videos, mate, on Israel Uncovered. Unbelievable photos, videos. Tell everyone about that as well.
Sure. So, you know, obviously, as some people you may know, I'm a tour guide over here in Israel. I love showing people around the beautiful country that is over here, and all the archaeological sites, the history, the nature. So if you want to have a look over there, just hop on over there. And yeah, I try and get as much content as I can up there. Because I know obviously a lot of people can't make it over to the Holy Land for a various, you know, number of reasons. So you can always chill out at home, put on YouTube, and just see it for what it is, and not what the media shows you every day. Because obviously, you know, there are issues over here, but in general, beautiful country. And yeah, so do hop over there if that's something that you know, tickles your fancy, you know.
There you go. I was wondering where you're going with that. Tickle your pickle, I thought you was going to say. But there you go. There you go. But listen, guys, that's wrapped it up for this edition. We've spoken about the Hugo rumour, the Kulusevski rumour, and the wonderful job and upcoming stuff on the community page. Please leave your comments. Like, share, subscribe. And as always, Levy out.
Bin him.
Tottenham Hotspur.